So I wanted to take a moment to show you guys a little bit of knife maintenance. And there's not too many videos out there going over knife maintenance outside of sharpening. There's tons of videos about sharpening, but there's not many people that address the issue of corrosion. And corrosion has been an issue for knife owners ever since the Iron Age. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed, because if you're not taking care of your equipment's not going to take care of you, and it's going to cause some problems later on down the road. So, you know, there's a lot of products out there to inhibit corrosion. I know a lot of people use WD-40 just because it's commonly available. There's also Croil, which both of those oils, or both of those rust inhibitors, are wet oils, which means that if you are in a dusty, dry environment, it's going to collect a lot of dust, and it's going to get pretty bad, and it's going to wear down your knife, and it's just going to stay dirty, actually dirtier than when you started. Luckily, there's a product called TUF-CLOTH made by Sentry Solutions. I've been using their tuf-glide on all the pivots on all my folding knives, from my buck hunter to my Benchmade Model 42. Pretty much anything that has a moving part, I would put that on there, and it's been doing really well. And the good thing about their product called TUF-CLOTH is that it applies on wet, but once the mineral spirits dry off, it leaves a nice dry film which contains no oils, no lubricants, so it's safe to use on food, and it's not going to attract dust and all that stuff, but it's still going to protect your steel from corrosion. So basically what I'm going to do during this test is I'm going to wet down both of my knives with denatured alcohol to make sure that any oils from cutting, eating food, or the manufacturing process has been wiped away. And the test knives that I'm going to be using is, or this isn't really a knife, but it's a knife blank. This is from my prototype design. It has no grinding on it, so it's just a flat piece of metal, but it is 1095 high carbon alloy steel. So this is what I'm going to be using for the freshwater test, using the regular TUF-CLOTH. So for my saltwater test, I hope no one would be using a carbon steel blade if they know they're going to be around saltwater. So I'm going to be sacrificing one of my knives, and this is the Columbia River Knife and Tool ABC knife. And this is the dive version. This is the knife that I use a lot if I'm going to be snorkeling or if I'm going to be kayaking in saltwater, that sort of thing. On one half of this knife, I am going to use the marine TUF-CLOTH, and on the other knife, I'm going to do half regular TUF-CLOTH and half uncoated. So after I apply water to both of these knives, I'm going to go ahead and put them into Ziploc bags. And this is pretty much going to simulate prolonged use in a wet environment. The freshwater blade turned out pretty good. As you can see, you know, there's almost a definite line from where the blade was treated and where it wasn't. And, you know, you can see it's not perfect. There is a little bit of discoloration. It's a different form of corrosion, or maybe a little bit of staining. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But there's also, you know, maybe 4 little rust spots here on the blade, but significantly better than the side that wasn't treated. Now, on the other side of this blank, I did the inverse. So I treated the handle and not the blade. So just to keep it fair, you can see there is quite a bit of corrosion on the blade here, and on the handle there's almost none. Now there's a little bit of discoloration. Some of that is from the test, but a lot of it actually is from previous storage. I kept it in a cardboard box, and cardboard absorbs moisture from the atmosphere and then transfers it onto the surfaces, which can cause corrosion. So that's where some of that came from. But all in all, it did pretty good. So you might be wondering what this would look like if I used marine TUF-CLOTH. Now, while this isn't exactly a good comparison because they weren't done at the same time, this is my prototype knife. I do a lot of cutting with it, you know, and it rains here a lot. And I remember one time I was cutting a 5-inch cedar log, and it was soaking wet outside, dripping wet, and I just put it right into the sheath and left it there overnight. And in the morning, I quickly discovered how big of an idiot it was, pulled it out, and the only thing that was wrong with it was these little discoloration spots. which can probably come off with a little bit of steel wool and a little bit of elbow grease. But if you're looking for ultimate protection, you know, and you're a little bit neglectful sometimes like me, I would probably go with the marine TUF-CLOTH. So if you move on to the Saltwater blade, remember this was an AUS 8 steel. It is also black hard case cyanide coated, and it is polished so that the corrosion doesn't have anything to stick to. But if we look on the non-treated side, you'll see there's quite a bit of corrosion, especially around here on the laser etching. There is quite a bit of pitting there. There's also a little bit of rust spots on the actual cutting edge. And then on the hard case surface, you'll see that there's quite a few speckles on there as well. So, you know, this thing has three good things going for it in terms of trying to keep corrosion at bay, but it still managed to pop up. But if you look on the treated side, there's absolutely no rust. And you also notice that even though this is a polished finish, when you put on the marine TUF-CLOTH, it puts like a dull kind of texture to it. And this might be beneficial for some people, but on the other hand, if you're looking for a display piece, it's not going to be quite as shiny. Now I hear you can buff it out, but it's not going to be quite the same effect, unfortunately. But people that require this protection, I very much doubt that they're going to care too much about whether a knife is shiny. So if you're looking for high-end protection, you're using your knife a lot, especially in saltwater, I'd definitely go with the marine TUF-CLOTH. And if you're just a casual user or using a stainless steel blade, stainless steel blades do rust still. I would suggest using just the regular TUF-CLOTH because it'll make your blades look nice and shiny and perfect, and it'll still have all the protection of the TUF-CLOTH. So let me know what you guys think. I have both versions of this on my store. Hope you guys check it out. And as always, take care out there. Bye.